Tony, part of this is about psychology, right? Sometimes, for some reason, we focus more on the negative events than we do on the long-term positive ones. So even though, and I think this is freedom fact number 5, that historically, bear markets only happen every 3 to 5 years, for some reason they seem to make an overlarge impression on investor psychology.
Well, I don't care. I was talking to Jack Bogle, who started Vanguard, $3 trillion in assets. And I said, what do you do in a market? He goes, I read all my books and remind myself not to sell anything. Because yes, it happens. Let's just say the figure so everybody understands it. Since 1900, so 115 years, we've had 34 bear markets. Since 1947, we've had 14. So overall, in 115 years, it's averaged every 3 years. In the last 50 years or so, it's averaged about one every 5 years. But the problem is that the average drop is 33%, right? And roughly a third of the time, the market drop is 40% or more. Well, when you lose, at least on paper, in your head, that's still the part of our brain that allows us to go into fight or flight, that survival mechanism, is triggered by money issues. They've done MRIs and shown it as if your life was being threatened. And so when that happens, unless you train yourself to be unshakable, unless you know, hey, look, this happens every 3 to 5 years, and if I try to get out, as we're gonna show you in a few moments, I'm gonna have the wrong timing. I just need to stay in and I won't lose anything. It'll look like I've lost, but over the long term, if I'm willing to stick with it, I can make it happen because we know what the returns are afterwards. We know how the market jumps after we've taken this hit in a bear market. Everybody remembers, where were we in 2009? Where are we today? But what's really important to know is that in the midst of all this, these bear markets last on average a year. There's a few times when they're a couple of years, but usually on average it's a year. So a year really is, any other business, if you could get a Ferrari for 50% off, you would be pretty excited, right? But this is the stock market's the only place in the world when things go on sale where people freak out. And what you want to be is the unshakable. When everyone else is in turmoil, you want to go, this is the greatest opportunity of my life. Let me get these things now because they're going to go back up in value. Because historically, that's what's happened in the US markets for 200 years, 2 centuries. No matter what you do, American business seems to find a way to resolve and become more profitable. Whatever you do, part of that is our population grows, part of that is inflation. And so the combination of these factors and our increased productivity as a society, which keeps growing, especially with technology, allows these markets to continue to grow. So it's going to happen every 3 to 5 years. It's going to be a 33% drop, a 40, 50% drop. But what we're going to show you in this book is how to set up a portfolio, how to diversify so that when that happens, you don't take that kind of a hit. You're still in really great shape. But more importantly, as Peter proved with all of his clients during that time, let's go in and let's take advantage of this. This is the chance to leapfrog from wherever you are financially to where you really want to be, because this is where you're going to see the greatest growth.